Well, all right. Coming to you live from the Who Buddy garage. Why are we in the garage? Because we're currently on a hold on the shipping container due to the current events. So I'm back out in the garage and trying to get this thing cleaned up. It's a mess, so it's going to take me a little while. But as I'm going through a lot of tools I bought last year. I would go to yard sales, estate sales, auctions, and I would just buy complete toolboxes or complete, sets of tools. And a lot of times I get good ones, and then I get some that need a little TLC, that were all rusted up. So I got vices and a lot of antique hand tools, things like that were not really ready to list, but they need a little work with them. So I was spending a lot of time, cleaning them up, trying to, buff them all out. And Buddy mentioned Evapo Rust, which you see behind me here. So that was great. So I was taking a bunch of tools, I'd dump it into a bucket, I'd throw Evapo Rust on it, and then the next morning I come out and they looked fantastic. So I kept cleaning more and more. I started posting some pictures of the vices I got done. I did a lot of woodworking tools that I had cleaned up. But on the woodworking tools, the tips, I was talking to a friend, and I was like, man, it seems like they're, kind of brittle or something on the ends. And he's like, well, how does Evapo Rust work? And I was like, I don't know how it works. I mean, why do you need to know how everything works? After I started thinking about it, it's like, I really don't have any idea how this works. They say it's biodegradable. You can dump it out wherever. It's perfectly safe for your hands and everything else, but I have no idea how this works. It just works. It's like, an ancient Chinese secret. Is it magic? I don't know. Is it, it's like the Easter Bunny. I don't know how he gets his eggs. He just shows up. There's the eggs. I don't ask. So I started doing a little bit of research into Evapo Rust and trying to figure out, hey, I would like to know how it works, because maybe there is a better way to use it on how I'm using now. Because yes, it works great. I don't have to do as much manual labor of getting the tools ready. But is there a way I could speed up the process? I don't even understand how the process works. So I did a lot of YouTube research and Googled a lot. And I was finding a bunch of different things where people were comparing, Evapo Rust versus vinegar versus Coke versus molasses, various different cleaning, and they were showing how each of the tools are coming out. Evapo Rust typically did better than anybody else. It showed against like the Rust-Oleum version of Evapo Rust. I don't remember what that's called. But it went through all that, and it was good information, but nobody really got into the chemistry of what makes this stuff work. And it's still this, like magical secret on how this works. So I did some more research, and then I thought to myself, well, first let's start out with how an item rusts. So when you get, a iron-based material, and it's exposed to oxygen in the presence of water and moisture, you start developing rust. That's where you get the pitting and then the deposits of rust on the surface of the material. So now you're stuck with this iron oxide substance on the top, right? So Evapo Rust, although, it seems like way too good to be true, is based off of processes that have been going on in nature for, ever since humans have existed, ever since trees have existed, because it functions very much like your hemoglobin does in your blood. So your hemoglobin has a chemical structure that allows it to bind to iron and then transport it through the body. Evapo Rust functions very, very similar in a process called chelation. So the way that it works is you have a chelating agent within Evapo Rust, and it goes out and it attaches to the iron oxide and then removes the iron off the surface. So that's why whenever you stick it in the solution overnight, you come back out, you'll still have the pitting, you'll still have the abnormalities of the surface from where it rusted, but the rust itself is going to bind to the Evapo Rust compound and then take it off. So at that point, how does that compound get rid of that iron so it can go back and do it again? Well, there's some sulfur also, or a sulfur type compound within Evapo Rust as well, that attaches to the iron, and that way the chelating agent can go back in and remove more more rust off your item. So it will continuously do this process until the sulfur agent is used up, and at that point your solution is no longer any good. So Evapo Rust is a water-based solution. One thing that I thought was very helpful, if you go off and you look at some of the videos that they actually put out themselves, is due to the fact that it's water-based, which is going to be very important because I'm going to be doing this through a specific process, it will evaporate, right? But the underlying solution will still be there, right? So you just, if you're putting this stuff in a tank, or if you're putting it in some sort of container, mark the height of it, and as it starts evaporating the water out of it, just raise it back up to that height. So a lot of good points on that. So Evapo Rust, very good solution. I'm a big fan of it. I started looking on their website, and then I found this other website of a reseller called, I think it's ICAFE, which had a lot of this information in it that was very good. So a couple of other things that it pointed out on the website is, you know, if you get the solution up to 120 degrees, which is kind of the prime operating condition, it will process the rusted item faster, so you'll get your rust off faster. Another thing it mentioned is if you do an ultrasonic, which I picked up one from Harbor Freight, you put it in ultrasonic cleaner, it will also clean it quicker by about 50 to 60%. So I'm going to test all this out with the ultrasonic cleaner and see how this thing actually performs. So it mentions that 1 gallon will remove roughly, I think it was half a pound worth of rust off of the various items, and it will do roughly about 300 pounds of parts that have about a medium rust on it. So I'm going to go through, show you the ones that I'm going to actually try out in the solution. What we're going to do is we're going to have one container, which I'm just going to do the soak method, pour Evapo Rust in it, put the item in there, and then we're going to compare it against the ultrasonic to see how much quicker that one processes it versus the other. So stick around and watch. And we're back. So let me go through some of the experiments that I'm going to do, and then I'll show you a little bit about the ultrasonic cleaner. So I have two, I think these are for lathes, for woodworking lathes. So I have two pieces here that I bought in the exact same lot. They're all rusted the same amount. See if I can get them up there close for you. So it's pretty bad shape. So these are the first ones, and this is going to be kind of my control for the experiment. I'm going to use it and put it, Evapo Rust, into the half of a Coke bottle, submerge it, and then see how it does. And then we're going to do a time test on the ultrasonic cleaner and pull it out roughly about every 90 seconds or so and see how it does compared to the item that's submerged just in the solution at room temperature. So a couple of other experiments that I'm going to be doing. Let me pull this off here and then I'll show it to you. So once I get through that one, for some reason I've got, I guess I had no idea, but I have a hankering for channel locks. So I got a ton of different channel locks that I'm going to be cleaning up, getting them ready to resell. So I said, hey, they fit in roughly about the size of the Central Machinery ultrasonic tank, which is 2.5 liters. So I'm just going to try these out in there, and I'm going to try to do a batch of those and see how those come out. So once I finish up with that, I have a couple of vices here. I hadn't decided if I'm going to do one or both. They're kind of a waste as far as reselling goes, but for an experiment standpoint, I would like to see how these things turned out. So one thing real quick on the Evapo Rust website that they also talk about is cleaning the item before you actually put it into the solution or an ultrasonic tank. So the advantage of that is there is a detergent within Evapo Rust, but if you do some pre-cleaning, then your solution is just focusing on the rust. And also if you do a pre-cleaning, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to remove some of the surface rust already, which is going to give you more life out of your Evapo Rust because the sulfur agent will be able to remove more from the chelating agent. So I'm going to pull this out and start filling it up with the Evapo Rust, and then we'll see how things go. So I'll walk you through as we go. All right, we have the ultrasonic tank set up, plugged into the wall here. It's pretty easy operation. We're just going to add the fluid to it. It's got an off and on switch to turn it off and on. It has different settings of 1 through 5, which they relate to how many seconds this thing actually runs. So it does 90 seconds, 180 seconds, all the way up to 480 seconds in 100-second increments. And then you have an off and on switch for the temperature control, which this thing does 145F. So the inside tank dimensions are 10 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 3 inches deep. So should work out pretty well for my hand tools, but this is not the end all be all for what I want to do. I actually want to get a larger one, which I'll either purchase or I might try to build one, but it looks pretty complicated. But if you want to see a great video, check out The Good of the Land, where this guy builds an ultrasonic tank and then tries it out. It does a great job. I would love to be able to build something like that. So we're going to try it out first with this metal tool here, which I showed you previously. And we are going to put 1 inch of the ultrasonic tank, checking it periodically. And then we're just going to let one sit over here in the soak and see how that compares, which, you know, we all kind of know it's going to do better in the ultrasonic tank, but just how much better is it going to do? So big question here is, am I going to be able to fit the small vise in here? Possibly, but I think it's going to be fairly tight, and I'm probably going to have to take it apart. So, but we'll check it out and see. So if not, maybe I have to just soak it and wait until I get a bigger tank. So sit back and before I get going here, I got the 1 gallon at O'Reilly's. I mean, yeah, which was really the only place I could find in town that had it. You can get quarts at Ace or some other hardware or auto parts stores. For 5 gallon is which I'm going to probably start going to in the future. Northern Tool has, which is I think somewhere between like 60 to 70 bucks. So sit back and then we'll go through the cleaning. So let's put this in there and see how it does. So let's see how it did. So you can already see, let me see if I can turn the light on here. So you can already see that it's starting to already work. The water is not that warm, so I'm going to see if I have to adjust it, but you can kind of already see, like in that area right there, that it's already working. The water, see if I can get that over some. The water is already, you also can see some deposits in the bottom of this. All right, so I'm going to set it for 90 seconds, and then I'm going to just do a short video here. I just want to see if it starts bubbling. So here we go. So you see the rust coming off of it? So we just finished up that 90 seconds. We're going to pull it out again, take a look at it, and then I'm going to run some, oh, look at that. Look how good that's already coming out. So this is going to be great. All right, so we just finished up another 480 seconds. So water feels a little bit tight. So check it out. This thing's turning out freaking crazy looking. It's a little hot to the touch too. Check out that side right there. That's phenomenal. I'm going to make a note on the next one to see if that's the top or the bottom, but look at the difference with just a short amount of time. Incredible. All right, we just finished up the next 480 second batch. I also, while I'm sitting here waiting, is disassembled the vise that I was going to try to clean. Good news is a couple of parts are going to fit no problem. I'm going to have to do separate batches, but it looks like they will both fit. The bad news is the screw will not fit, so I will probably just have to soak that one. But I am going to clean these with Purple Power first, get all the oil and stuff off of there. And at some point, I'm probably going to switch out the bath here. It's starting to get kind of dirty. I think it can go a while longer, but for the video purposes, you can't really see in there. So I'm probably going to switch it out after I get done with this one. On this last batch here, I am going to throw in a bunch of other stuff here. So see how that works. So I got a couple other items that I'll be throwing on here. This one, I can't really see any of the markings or anything on it. So we're going to throw it in here. I will say on the ultrasonic, the one thing that I'm realizing now that I'm not a big fan of is I'm going to have to dump this into that container there, which would be nice if it had a spout or some way to drain it out besides just picking it up and dumping it over. But we will live and we will press on. So here we go. We're going to dump everything in there and then see how the last batch does. So I wasn't going to do it, but they turned out so well I wanted to show you. So you can see all the maker's marks now. Virtually all the rust is gone, and I only ran these in there for 2 or 3 480 second cycles. Once again, this one turned out great. It's a Utica. Didn't even know what that was. This one I couldn't read the maker's mark on it, but now it's starting to show up as well. Made in Germany. And then the two chisels that I have here, it came out great out of the ultrasonic cleaner. You can see the difference between the two. You can really read all of the markings on this one. When you flip it over to the back side, you can still see quite a bit of difference. We get up here at the end, definitely huge amount of difference. So ultrasonic cleaner, thumbs up. Need to get a bigger one. If you're going to resell tools and you have to refurb any tools, I highly recommend it. So I'm going to start getting into the channel locks, dump them in here just to use as much as I can of this fluid until I have to dump in another gallon of the Evapo Rust. You can see that it has evaporated some, so I might add a little bit of water to it and just see how everything turns out. So I am cleaning up the vise, and the vise will be the last thing that I clean. So away we go. All right, after making a huge mess, I now have switched out the solution. Once I got the tank dumped, I wiped it out with a rag, and there was a ton of old nastiness that was stuck in the bottom of that. So the comparison of the solutions, you see the difference between just the ambient dunk and what was going on in the ultrasonic tank. Just a lot more material and rust and dirt and grime all removed. But we processed a lot more stuff in a lot shorter amount of time. So I'm going to jump here a little bit. I did one batch with the channel locks. They're cleaning out very quick and very nice. So I want to see kind of what's going on with the solution when I stick some of this vise in there. The vise, I'm going to have to shift gears a little bit. I was planning on sticking this bottom part of the vise in this way, but I'm going to have to do it with it standing up. So I'm only be able to do a section at a time, so we'll be able to see what that turns out like. And I'm going to start out with the adjustable part of the vise. So I'm not really for sure yet how I'm going to clean this portion of the vise, whether I'm going to just stick the screw into the container with the other part that I'm working on, or if I figure out a way on how to, stick it in this way or something like that. So anyway, I'll figure it out, but I just wanted to show you a little bit as we're going along with the vise because it's pretty heavily rusted. It is a Amco number 70 made in Athol, Mass. So that's why I picked it up, but was a little bit disappointed when I got it because I didn't check the bottom very good. That's the main thing when you get vices or whatever you're getting on tool wise. Inspect, 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 know what you're looking for, because this one here had some dings and stuff in it. But hey, I'm going to clean it up and try to resell it anyway. So here we go. All right, so we're going to adjust the time up to 480 seconds. I'm going to turn back on the heater. I've got all the solution filled up to the max line. And now I'm going to put in the adjustable. So you can tell quite a bit of difference. So let's turn on the ultrasonic. You can see all of the rust starting to bubble off of it.
This will be roughly the same way. I'm going to have a couple of ends sticking out of it, but that's okay. I might fill in a little bit more of the solution next time to see if I get the whole thing into water. But you already see this is working well.
Well, all right, I'm back. In true Mike fashion, I broke it. So the GFI outlet was tripping, so I reset it, and I took the items out, I put them back in, it tripped again. And then when I reset it again, it come on, and there was no ultrasonic cleaner. So right now, I've only got heat. So I'll finish out cleaning the vise with just the heat portion, which is okay. It's going to go faster than just sticking it in a tub with the ambient temperature. So that will finish up that. For the channel locks here, I'm just going to stick those in the Coke bottle. I threw some Evapo Rust on it, and I'll do them half and half to finish those out. So I learned a ton tonight about the ultrasonic cleaner and the use of Evapo Rust and the ultrasonic cleaner. A couple things about Evapo Rust: it is strong enough to remove the surface rust, the iron oxide, but it does not attack the underlying base materials, which is good. They advertise 15 pounds of rust that it will remove, or roughly about 300 pounds of medium rusted parts. I'm just not seeing that with what I've done. I've used roughly probably about 1.5 gallons right now, and I'm just not seeing that amount of output coming out of this. So I still am very happy with it. In my opinion, if you are reselling items that may be rusted, or if you are working on parts that you're refurbishing, this is a must to have. Maybe not this specific one, but an ultrasonic cleaner is a must to have in your arsenal. It just saves a ton of time. In my head, where I'm at with the this process is the Evapo Rust, $25 a gallon, 60 to 70 for a 5-gallon tank, which if you're doing vices, you're going to have to get 5 gallons or even larger. I'm kind of tossed up in my head of like what's the price point of an item to where it makes sense to actually do this Evapo Rust process, because it is pretty expensive. But it is a lot cheaper than if you're doing this by hand and trying to clean it up by hand. So that's kind of where I'm at in my head on it. Just to give you kind of an idea of how the vise is turning out, I've showed some before pictures. This is the movable jaw. It looks great. A lot of the rust has already been removed. The wording on it is really coming out, and all the nooks and crannies are really starting to get all the rust out of it. So I'm very happy with what's going on here with the ultrasonic cleaner. I will either try to buy an off-the-shelf one, or if I can't find one, I'm probably going to rewatch the Good of the Land videos and see if there's a possibility to actually make one myself. But first choice is probably going to be try to find an off-the-shelf model. Probably maybe in the 5-gallon range, or just something I can get a vise or something like that into, because that's what I want to do, is just drop it in there, you know, turn it on, run it for a couple hours, and then be done with it. So very happy with the way things turned out tonight. Learned a ton. I referenced a lot of videos through this video and some of my other videos. These guys are great, so make sure you go out and check them out. You got people like The Good of the Land, Mr. Pete, A-Bomb, all those guys. That's how I'm learning how to do a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, which I'm not really a machinist. I'm not really a guy that repairs stuff. All I am is a reseller, but I'm learning a lot just by watching them. So it's been a huge help to me. So if you like what you're seeing, please leave me a comment or give me a thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe. I'm going to keep putting out videos, hopefully every Thursday or every Tuesday. And then if I have any other things, I'll try to pop them in through the week. So thanks for watching. So I picked it out. It's going to fit nicely with these channel locks that I'm going to have to be able to put in there. But first, as I mentioned, we're going to start out with these woodworking tools. And start trying those out. So hopefully those are woodworking tools. I'm gonna look like an idiot if they're not. So if these aren't woodworking tools, leave a comment down in the section and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so